As an angel disguised as lust, here in our bed until the morning comes. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel under your command. Take my hand as the
There is a direct correlation betwixt the length of the closing prayer and the spirituality of the brother giving the prayer, and there is an appropriate amount. There's a sliding scale, but there is a direct ratio between how deep the spirituality of the brother is and there's a ladder there. It goes in steps. For the closing prayer, if it is a regular brother, perhaps a visiting speaker, you have the 1 minute to 90 seconds for closing prayer. An elder of the congregation will typically give a 2 to 3 minute prayer. And they're usually they're rote, very rudimentary prayers. Standard lines. We come before you, Jehovah. We ask your blessing. We love it. The circuit overseer. If you're having the circuit overseer visit, I'm sorry, but you're not getting out of there. If you're hoping to be the first in line at Church's Chicken, I'm sorry, but the circuit overseer will be giving a 5 to 6 minute closing prayer. But you have to understand, it's because his spirituality level it's beyond what the regular brothers at the hall have. And it is appropriate. If you have a Bethel speaker visiting, I hope you don't mind standing for long periods of time, because you're going to be getting an 8 to 10 minute closing prayer. So you might have to lean forward to the chair in front of you. I hope you have someone to lean on. Hope you don't mind locking your knees for long periods of time, because the Bethel speakers are extremely religious. So we have to understand and make that exception for them. They're talking directly to Jehovah. Us, we're just kind of talking at Jehovah. Maybe he hears, maybe he doesn't. But the Bethel speakers at a Kingdom Hall is 8 to 10 minutes. Now, BU at a district convention is when things get very spiritual. Very spiritual. And I shit you not, friends, I was at one district convention. The closing prayer for the Sunday session was 25 minutes long. This is not an exaggeration. 25 minutes. The length of a talk. The man gave a talk to Jehovah. What are you going to tell Jehovah God for 25 minutes that he doesn't know? Maybe he tapped into something Jehovah hadn't figured out yet. At one point, it became obvious that he was talking to the audience. He forgot he was talking to Jehovah. He was lecturing teenagers in the audience. He was scolding people in the audience. So I'm sure Jehovah didn't mind. I'm sure Jehovah likes that sort of thing, so. Jehovah may have checked out emotionally a long time ago. I don't know that he was listening at that point. Even Jehovah has an attention span. Look, if you're flying around the universe in a celestial chariot, how is an old guy standing on a stage going to hold your attention? You're looking at stars and universes. You're really going to sit there? That's like a TV show for you? You're going to sit there watching some old guy in a suit standing there giving you a talk about things you already know? Telling you what you're going to do for him? Now, mind you, there's been many changes since my day, but in my time, you essentially even the basic Jehovah's Witness did the repeat study of, look, the magazines used to come in the mail. You'd get it in a brown wrapper. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but this really happened. They mailed Watchtower and Awake magazines to people's houses in a little brown thin piece of, it was almost like sandwich paper. It was ridiculous. Then you'd open it up and it's folded up 3 ways. It's insane. But you were instructed at the Kingdom Hall that as soon as Watchtower and Big Macs, as soon as the Big Macs arrived on your plate, you were to open it up and read it right away. And they showed pictures of people doing it. It's what you were supposed to do. Then you go through it again and you highlight it with your magic markers. Usually you would have one that's yellow and one that is green or pink for the B question. Then comes the Sunday meeting, where the entire congregation will have an in-depth study of the article. Each paragraph, you read the paragraph, but then then they ask the questions, so you get to review the material in the paragraph a second time for reinforcement. Repetition for emphasis. And, of course, you don't get to ask your own questions. It's simply you're not really discussing what you're reading there. You're just rereading it again and you will have you're surrounded by simpletons who will have the clever idea of putting it in their own words. Oh, Jesus. Oh, friends, some of the good times remembering some of the beautiful comments at the meetings. You're going to hear some very intellectually invigorating comments. And other people have the good sense to simply reverse the sentence and read it backwards to forwards, and that's how they put it in their own words. That's a fail-safe. But after the Watchtower study where you read the paragraph and read the information a second time during the comments, you have the question box where you will delve into the bullet points. In essence, friends, between the magazines arriving in the mail, the initial reading, the highlighting, the congregation study, the questions reviewed, and then the question box, you have studied the material 5 times. 4 to 5 times. You may call that human programming. I just call it good study. I call it in-depth reporting. Bullet points. Let's not do that one. Let's do the generation of 1914, which was by no means to pass away, but kind of did already. It has come to light that it was a misunderstanding the whole time, and that actually it meant multiple generations. The generation is longer than the usual generation. It's a compound generation. You get 2 for the price of 1 this time. And this is the way it's always been. This is a truth that has pre-existed for thousands of years. It's just everyone is realizing it now. And I do mean everyone. You see, the writers of the Watchtower magazine are not speaking of their own volition. They are simply representatives of the faithful and discreet class, which, as you know, is many thousands of people. Therein lies the problem, though, for you to sort out in your own mind. For thousands of people to all make the identical mistake for many decades. It wasn't just that one person writing the Watchtower had a mixed up idea about what the generation of 1914 meant. It wasn't just that a group of writers sitting at a table, or even the entire governing body, or even the entire staff of Bethel. As a Jehovah's Witness, you must believe that thousands of people are identically wrong on identical topics for the exact same amount of time in perfect unison.
Sexual organs begin manufacturing a fluid called semen. This contains millions of microscopic sperm capable of fertilizing a female egg, producing a baby if released during sex. Since you are not married, Sperm simply builds up.
Yeah, that's since you're not married.
Some is gradually absorbed by your body. But from time to time, it will be released at night while you sleep. This is commonly called a wet dream. As the reproductive system matures, both boys and girls are often extremely sensitive to sexual arousal. When this happens to a boy, the male sex organ oh heavens. When this happens to a boy, the male sex organ, or penis as I call it, becomes causing it to become erect or stiff. But reminds the new teenage body.
Children.
My 10-month-old granddaughter came down with diarrhea. The hospital sent her home and she got worse each day. I remembered your article on saving children by using a formula of oral rehydration therapy. I followed the instructions, and the next day she began to regain her strength. The diarrhea stopped and she completely recovered.
Thank you, RM United States. But why did you call it dying children? The walrus and the drug trade. And there's a element of, there's a ladder there. It goes in steps. For the closing prayer, if it is a regular brother, perhaps a visiting speaker, you have the 1 minute to 90 seconds for closing prayer. We love it. The circuit overseer. If you're having the circuit overseer visit, I'm sorry, but you're not getting out of there. If you're hoping to be the first in line at Church's Chicken, I'm sorry, but the circuit overseer will be giving a 5 to 6 minute close. An elder of the congregation will typically give a 2 to 3 minute prayer. And they're usually they're rote. Very rudimentary prayers. Standard lines. We come before you, Jehovah. We ask your blessing.
As an angel disguised as lust, here in our bed until the morning comes. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel under your command. Take my hand as the sun.
There is a direct correlation betwixt the length of the closing prayer and the spirituality of the brother giving the prayer. And there is an appropriate amount. This is a sliding scale. But there is a direct ratio between how deep the spirituality of the brother is and